When I came out of the youth centre and I went into a homeless shelter, I was left on my own. That was it. It's lovely to come in here and close the door and know that there's no stigma, there's no judgment, everyone's the same. There's no ageism, feminism, sexism, anything in here.
That's what I love about it in here. It's people you find who have been through the most difficult in their own heads, or it could be their circumstances, are so open and so honest. And like, we like to think of it, and we've always like discussed things openly, but like it's like more of a celebration here that we have looked for help, that we're all here for each other, that we're able to talk about mental health, and just be supportive for each other.
I mean, one of the reasons I love my job is because we all go through lives where we feel we have to put on our professional face, or our, if we're going to the gym face, or we're going to the Duns face, or whatever it might be. Whenever I come in here and I'm dealing with the members that come and use our services here, I never feel I have to do that. I can come in and be who I am and however I am on any given day. LMHA stands for Limerick Mental Health Association, which is an organisation set up by volunteers in 2002. And it was to try and start meeting the unmet needs of people who were under care of mental health services at the time, which mental health services were changing then. Then a year later they set up Chéile, which is a peer support project, and we provide activities and supports for people who are in crisis with mental health, or have been through mental health crisis, or just have difficulty coping. If a person's been finding that they've been feeling really, really low for a while, they might even be able to put a finger on it, or maybe because something has happened to them, they may have lost their job, they may have been through a very sad bereavement, they could have lost a friendship. It could be any number of things, but it might be really, really affecting them psychologically. Mentally, they're not feeling the best, it might be irritable, it might be not sleeping, but they know that mentally it's really, really affecting them, and they're trying to find a way to help themselves to cope with it. Come in here. We'd be more than happy to maybe signpost you. It might be a case of helping you to find what supports you. It might necessarily be here, but if here is what works for you, then absolutely we'd be more than happy to come in. What you do is we join an activity. It might be art, it might be creative writing, it might be walking, it might be just coming in for a coffee on a Friday morning. But what you'll meet here is people who've been through similar experiences. The only thing we need to know is your name, initially anyway. And then you sit down and get to know people and be amongst other people who are friendly and welcoming.
When I see people who come in here first and that they're just after coming out of the acute ward and they're very nervous and they're like, and I just sit down and I just speak to them, and then I just say to them, I've been there. And they kind of go, really? And they look at me and I go, I'm still recovering, I still have bad days, but once you, say, if you get something, look for the right, alternative, things to do, or come to Chéile, even if you're not feeling good, even if you can for half an hour, and listen to your body. That was another thing I told people. If you're having a bad day, stay in bed. If your body wants to stay in bed. If you're having a good day, get up, get out, meet people. Don't isolate yourself. Just do what your body tells you.
We're at the stage now where we have activities 6 out of the 7 days of the week. But anyone really is welcome. I mean, if so many people won't try and access support or services for themselves when they're going through a mental health difficulty. So if someone comes through the door to us, and they might have done a little bit of research about what we're about, or they might have heard it from somebody else, we assume that they feel that they need our services or they need our support. The first thing we do is we meet the person, not the diagnosis. So basically, a person comes in the door, that person's name might be Mary or Joe, and it's like, hi, how are ya? Welcome, this is what we've on. You're welcome to attend any of our activities. You're welcome to attend one activity a week or every activity in the week. It really is up to the individual what they feel they are capable of doing at that time.
Jesus, no, we want you working. We want evidence that there is actually work.
Going on here, I know.
There isn't much this morning, no.
I run the men's shed on a Tuesday morning above in St. Joseph's, and we have between 15 to 20 members. They range from 18 up to 70 odd years of age, and it's so funny when the lads come in from crew and they come off the bus, and it's like as if they're coming from the Sahara because they're running in and goes, cup of tea, cup of coffee, so you have to have all the cups lined up for them, and it's just the initial first half an hour, it's like but then after that then it's grand, we go out and we do a bit of gardening, reading, a bit of watering, sit down, if it's too hot have a chat. So it's just to get them out for a couple of hours, get them, you see, men don't talk, whether they're young or old, but the ones that are above with us, they do talk and they love to chat, and because they know it's a safe environment as well, and they all know each other, and even if someone new comes in, they just sit down and just chat away. It's just so open.
A lot of studies have shown that the earlier help is accessed sometimes means the length or the duration of the illness is less. Do you know, because it doesn't take as much time, you know, the person is living with it for very long. It's not true in every case, but you know, studies have shown that early intervention, and that's true of most illnesses. I mean, that's true if someone has a heart issue, that's true of diabetes, that's true of asthma, you know, that's true of any health issue that's going on for a person. The earlier they get help, the sooner they learn to cope or they learn to deal with the symptoms of their illness, the sooner they can get on with the rest of their lives.
We've been doing a really successful music workshop since November last year. We've started off in the Hunt Museum, so we'd have maybe between 10 to 15 participants every week, and it's been really good because the aim of it was to integrate into the community, because we're not just here, you know, to kind of go out into the community, and like we'd be out in the garden singing when it's sunny, and it's just really lovely, and people just come and just listen. And then, because I know a lot of musicians from around Limerick, just from playing myself, so they've come along and like they've sang, performed their own music and stuff like that, and a real mix in the group, like, so it's really, really nice. We write music and we just have the chats is the most important part of all the workshops here.
For some people, they come in for a short period of time, they just, you know, use the support for a period of time to support themselves, and then, you know, but for others they continue to come back. And some then go on to become pure volunteers, so then they end up volunteering with their organisation so that they can be a support to a person who's similar to themselves and comes in the door, and they can say, no, I've been where you are, you're going to be okay, there is hope there is hope in recovery. And that's one of the main things we try and live by, is that recovery is possible. And one of the main tenets of recovery is hope. We can give people hope that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
When I came out of the acute centre, and I went into a homeless shelter, I was left on my own. That was it. There was a team, I met this team of 5 people. They were supposed to do this, that and everything for me, and my next appointment was 3 months later and never heard anything from them. So I literally got involved here in Chéile. I got involved then in Paul's partnership, and I did some confidence building roles. From Chéile then I got onto the ARIES project and became trained up to be a facilitator on that. From that then I did the Service Reform Fund, which was going out to the different services, and so it's literally the service reform was that it never happened to someone like me again, that when they come out that they'll have a little booklet and there'll be the A to C of places to go, what supports are there, what supports do kind of a breakdown.
We have 3 part-time staff, so my hours, I'm on 25 hours a week, and our 2 other members of staff are on 8 hours a week. We would like to try and provide more services. We'd like to try and provide more wellness. You know, to hire a facilitator or anything like that can be quite expensive. But you can have very good facilitators out there around personal development, empowerment, self-esteem, you know, different things like that, boundaries, all things that can be important, particularly for a person who's had their identity challenged by a mental health issue. You know, but so they can be expensive. So we fundraise to help us to support to do other things. Then as well, quite a lot of people use their services around disability. So for them to try and do anything outside of, you know, paying their rent and their food and stuff like that is out of their reach. So we try and organise other activities like dances, like we try to go away on a day trip once a year. We try, you know, if there's interesting shows coming up around mental health or anything like that, we might try and arrange tickets, you know, reduce tickets for our members. So different things like that, so we can try and have stuff that's outside of our little community here as well, but bringing people out into the community as well where we can.
Last year we had a really exciting collaboration with the Art College. So I went to the Art College here as well. And but I was really interested in, like, for me personally, going to college is really hard on your mental health. And I didn't know until you look back. You know, just you're not eating properly and not sleeping properly, not looking after yourself. Then you have people you feel criticising you all the time, and it's just really a lot of pressure and competition. So anyway, we collaborated with the student union there, and they're amazing girls. And we had a big exhibition, our members and the Art College, in King John's Castle. So that was along with the launch of Mental Health Week. So that was brilliant because the members were there displaying their stuff alongside like their college students, and you know, there wasn't like much difference. Do you know what I mean? It was like my big thing is that everyone is an artist. You know, whether that's drawing, sketching, painting in the men's shed, you know, anything. But so that was really exciting, and I'm looking forward to hopefully this year it'll be collaborating with Rare Music Cafe to have another performance.
One of the things we want to do is try and reduce stigma around mental health. It's one of the biggest obstacles to people getting help, to admitting that they might need help, to even saying that they've been for help, you know, sharing that, you know, who's a great counsellor is such and such, I went to see them, whatever, you know, that sort of a word of mouth referral just doesn't happen around mental health. So one of the ways we can try and tackle that is by going out into other organisations or going into schools, or, you know, going to other local groups. It might be a tidy towns committee, because everyone needs to look after their mental health. So it might be going out and just saying, you know, this is what we do, this is what we think people should do to support themselves in their mental health. And the two things we hit with that is we're giving people hopefully some tips around how to mind themselves, how to support themselves. We're also giving them some advice around, you know, if someone around you, maybe you might think they might be going through a mental health challenge, you know, what's the best way to try and support them. And then also to get that conversation, you know, after we leave, that feeling of, do you know what, it's actually okay. Everyone goes through it. You know, everyone at some point in their life will have a mental health issue, you know, or a challenge that they have to, you know, they need support around. So if we start those little conversations in communities where people start talking to each other, then, you know, that in and itself will hopefully have a knock-on effect around the stigma, and hopefully help people to talk more about it and then access services earlier.
Like, there's a few people who've come who might have tried art before but might never have completed a painting, but it's that, like, when they complete one and then they give it as a gift, it's just, you know, it's really, really empowering. And even one guy came in and he hadn't done arts in school, and he's now painting portraits of Elvis and Dolores O'Riordan, and he's coming in every week. He's different ideas of things he wants to do, and he knows himself. I just teach the techniques, it's not a therapy. It's just about, I just want to show them how to paint, you know, and it's just about having patience as well, you know, so it's very mindful.
The thing is that Ireland, in quite a lot of ways, is quite progressive, and in other ways isn't. The government have been very proactive over the last number of years. They've set up offices in all the different counties, like suicide prevention resource offices, you know, to start tackling the quite high statistics that we have around suicide. Limerick, unfortunately, is particularly one of the worst. The local authority, I know, has started things around their area, around what they can do to try and reduce the numbers. We actually have quite a lot of organisations in Limerick City and County, and they're actually quite proactive. As for our size, we actually have quite a lot going on. We're actually quite progressive as a county and a city than some others. And some of that comes down to the fact that we have a city. We have a university, an Institute of Technology, and we have Mary Metcalfe College. We have quite higher centres of learning here as well. That all impacts on the amount of people that come in here, but it also impacts on the learning that's available here. And quite a lot of those organisations collaborate together as well around mental health, and have been doing. Limerick Mental Health Association, which is our organisation, has been one of the key partners in that, because every year we run Limerick Mental Health Week, and every year we invite other organisations to join us in organising a week of activities. So it might be talks, there's a family fun day, and there's, you know, art exhibitions, there might be a play on, you know, it could be any number of different things can be on. But the idea is to create awareness of mental health and how important it is for everybody. It also creates awareness of the organisations that are already here in Limerick City and County, so that people know, you know, if they need support, that this organisation is there. It also breaks down stigma a little bit, because if someone comes to an event and they're meeting, say, me, and they know, oh, do you know what, I actually met that girl, she works at that organisation, she's, you know, it breaks down that first barrier sometimes for people to come in. And then as well we get people involved, and we get the collaboration between all the different organisations, you know, would include like the local authority, the HSC, Grow, Samaritans, My Mind, ourselves, Jigsaw, Limerick Youth Service Mental Health Team. They're the core groups who are involved in it. It also involves Headway, Engine, the Hunt Museum, Fab Lab. There's so many organisations come together. Like our creative writing group are working on a book at the moment, which we're hoping to publish and launch during Mental Health Week. Because they've been coming here every week and they've been working on their fiction, on their poetry, you know, and we want to show it off because they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We're going to hold an art exhibition. You can see there's loads of art around the building from our art group. They produce some fantastic work every week, let alone, you know, every year. So we want to show that off as well. And you know, Jigsaw we'll collaborate with Jigsaw on events. We have a lot of things planned, but one of the things that Mental Health Week has done over the last number of years is brought us all together, got us all talking, and that has led on then to different collaborations between the different groups for different reasons and in different ways. If you're in an immediate crisis and you want to talk to someone immediately, ring the Samaritans. The Samaritans are they're free, they're at the end of a line, they'll listen to you. If you feel that you want more information than that, you want an activity to do, or you want to find out what would be right for you to help you to get through whatever crisis, whatever issue is going on for you at the moment, pop into us here. You're more than welcome to come in. We'll tell you what we do here. If what we do here doesn't fit in with what you think is right for you, we can signpost you to other services.
I also do the coffee morning here on a Friday and at 11 o'clock, and like that people come in, there's no judgment, it's a safe place, sit down, have a cup of coffee, nice bit of tart or scone, and we could end up talking about anything. We could end up singing, we could end up laughing, we could end up crying maybe sometimes, but it's non-judgmental. You can be yourself, warts and all. That's exactly what Chéile is, and that's what I got out of Chéile when I first started using. Because I'm coming as my own experience as well.
Just being here gives me support. Just being around people who are so loving and caring and understanding helps me to go through. Do you know when you get up some mornings and it's like impossible to get out of bed? I can come in here and I know that I'll be supported through that, and we try to give that back as well. And I know that our staff and our volunteers and our peers give that back 100 times over to anyone who comes in the door.